We're delighted to have Dr. John on today. He is a preeminent speaker and researcher on diabetes. He's written 8 books and 4 books, I'm sorry, 4 books. And they're all just outstanding books. And we are delighted to have him with us to share with us details that he needs us to understand about our health, what strategies and tactics that we need to use to keep it in order so that, if you're diabetic, be diabetes free. Yeah. So Dr. John, it's all yours.
Thank you. And I thank you all for listening to what I have to say. Once you understand it, it is yours. You can do whatever you feel with it. But my duty is to let you understand what I am thinking and see whether it makes sense to you. First of all, 4.9 million African American adults, or 18.7% of all African Americans over the age 20, have been diagnosed or have diagnosed or undiagnosed diabetes, compared to 7.1% of non-Hispanic white Americans. In other words, the risk of diabetes is 77% higher among African Americans than among non-Hispanic white Americans. Now, it's a common practice for your family doctor to ask, is there a family history of diabetes? In this age, who doesn't have a relative with type 2 diabetes? Almost everybody. So therefore, Black individuals assume that diabetes is their destiny because they have inherited genes that make them more likely to develop diabetes. If you ask the doctor what these genes do, because I had these genes from day one of my life, and I did not have diabetic until I got older. So the answer will be that these genes make you become resistant to insulin. And that means your cells are not able to use glucose for metabolic functions, and glucose accumulate in your blood, leading to the diagnosis of diabetes. Now, I would like to correct two pieces of information here for you to understand. The first is, according to a 2013 review, there is no genetic difference between white and Black people in terms of their risk of type 2 diabetes. In fact, no genes responsible for 90% of type 2 diabetes incidence no genes have been identified in any population. In other words, it is not a genetically inherited condition. It's a lifestyle condition. The second point I want to make and to clarify is the term or the concept of insulin resistance.
Mm.
To understand this concept, you need to know, what does insulin do? How does it work in the body? Insulin is a hormone released from your own pancreas when your blood glucose level goes up after a meal containing carbohydrate. Pancreas releases insulin so that insulin can let the cell know glucose is outside, because there is no calling bell for the glucose molecule to let cell know. It is like if somebody rings the bell in your front door, you know there is somebody outside. Glucose may be outside the cell, but glucose cannot let the cell know. That is the job of insulin. Now, you can understand what happens in type 1 diabetics. These are mostly in children whose pancreas does not produce insulin. They have plenty of glucose, but cells starve because they don't even know. And these children used to die by age 10 before insulin was discovered.
Mm.
Now they live a normal life. Now, in type 2 diabetics, on the other hand, there is insulin and there is also high glucose. So the endocrinologists needed a concept, and they came up with the concept of insulin resistance. Now, ordinarily, any scientific concept will be accepted as fact only after going through a validation process consisting of 3 steps: logic, mechanism, and measurement. But endocrinologists sidestepped all that. They just accepted the theory because it was very convenient. And even then, they are saying only 3 out of 200 different types of cell in the body become resistant: muscles, liver, and fat. Imagine you live in a 200 unit apartment complex with multi-level, and people living in 3 different apartments in 3 different areas suddenly decide, from tomorrow we are not going to respond to the UPS driver. No coordination, nothing. How can that happen? How is that possible? Yet that is what endocrinologists want us to believe, that muscles, liver, and fat cells decided one day that they are not going to respond to insulin. It makes no logical sense. So, what do endocrinologists do if you ask, why am I having this? They will say, they will insist on the insulin resistance, and they make the guidelines that your doctors follow. The family practitioners and other practitioners have no choice but to follow this. They cannot question. What is most troublesome is the fact that researchers have known for a long time the prevalence and increasing incidence of serious complications in people with type 2 diabetes in spite of insulin treatment. For example, nerve damage known as neuropathy is one of the most common diabetic complications, affecting 60% of patients. Kidney damage known as nephropathy affects 50% of patients. Eye damage known as retinopathy affects 25% of patients. And 2.5% have diabetic foot. Okay, that can lead to amputations of toes and legs. In any other disease, experts will be asking, we need to reevaluate the treatment plan because too many people are having complications. Yet they double down on it and increase and recommend increasing the dose of insulin or other medications. So I have been asking patients, ask your doctor, why are they being treated? They ask 2 questions. For example, number 1, if I am resistant to insulin, why are you giving me insulin? Second, even if I keep my A1C controlled with insulin, why did I get the complication? And then you ask me to increase the dose again. Why? After talking to many, many patients, I found out that no patient feels comfortable asking the questions to their doctor because there is a patient-doctor bond. They don't want to upset it. And the doctors are very sensitive. They may think the patient is questioning their medical knowledge. They want to understand, but the doctors feel threatened. So nobody has been asking me. So after a long time, I have come up with this solution, and I need the help of everybody. That is, my solution is this, that people who are affected, who have had complications of diabetics, in spite of treatment, need to form an association of people with diabetic complications, APDC for short. And they have to have, that means group strength. They have to have a spokesperson, somebody who can ask questions, either a teacher or a lawyer. And representing the group, he or she should start asking questions to the doctors, to the endocrinologists, to the certified diabetes educators, to the diabetic organization that are supposedly representing the patients, to NIH, to National Diabetes and Kidney Institute, and insurance companies, anybody involved with care of diabetes. They
Yeah,
should ask.
CDC, you got it. You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I'm going to stop you for 1 second, Dr. John, because I'm going to lose DD. It's 1:45. So Dr. John will bring you back. We'll bring you back. But if anyone has a question in the group, let me know. Okay, so let's go quick to Dee Dee and we'll come back to you, Dr. John. And it's
That will
interesting
be
because
perfect. It's the right time
she's
to
gonna,
start.
yes, she's gonna show you cooking. So that's good. Dee Dee,
Okay.
can you start your video? Deidre. She's coming. Is she coming? Elton, you want to talk while she's getting together? Okay.
Okay, here she is. She's
Yeah,
here.
she's there. She's there. All right.
Okay. How are you
We got-
guys today? Can you hear me?
Good.
Great. How about you? Good to
I'm
have you.
good. I have something on my screen that says start. Okay, I guess it just wanted me to come on. Good
Okay.
afternoon, everyone. And I wasn't sure of the format. I'm very familiar with the Zoom, but I wasn't sure how this particular